Hello guys, in this video we are going to see about variables and data types in Python. So let's open the Python editor, go and search for VS Code, open it and select the folder where we have to store Python. Let's see where it is. Yes, and select folder. Now we get the folder where we are going to do our Python code. Now let's see what is variables and what is data types. First of all, variables are nothing but just containers which store values. Similarly, let me tell this with an example. If we have two containers, one container we store oil and another container we store petrol. Similarly, after storing one container oil, we call the container as oil container and the second container where we store petrol as petrol container. If we store some values in a certain place, that is called as containers. So now let's create a variable named A and now we store a value named 5. Okay, now let's create another variable named b. Now we store value of 6. Now let's print it the value of a. Now print a. Now let's see what's happening. Now just run the code and let's see what is the output. While printing a, we get the output as 5. But I have print the a. But why we get the output as 5? Because the value a has stored the value of 5. So now let's print the value of b. If we print the value of b, we will get 5 and 6. Now let's see what happens here. When we tell the computer to print a a, the value stored in a gets us output as 5. Now when we tell to print a b, the value stored in b is 6. So here we get the value as 6. So this is what containers and similarly in Python it is called as variables. Variable b and variable a.
Now let's try another thing. We cannot only save integers, we can also save strings like sentences, words also inside a variables. I have created a variable named C and store the string Python and now let's print C. Now let's see what could be the output. Okay, fine. We get the output as Python. How did we get the output as Python? Because we have stored the word Python inside a variable named C. So while printing the variable C, we get the output as Python because the variable C stores the value as Python. Now let me remove the word Python under the double underscore and just type Python without using double underscore. What happens? We get an error. Why this error has came? Because the name Python is not defined. Because there is no such thing as Python that I didn't mention in the programming. So if we need to declare a string, we need to use double underscore so that we get the output properly. Now let me give the same Python in double underscore and let's print it. Okay. As usual, we get the output as Python. Like I told you before, a container's name is defined by the values inside it. Similarly, if we put oil inside a container, it is called oil can. If we put petrol inside a container, it is called petrol can. Similarly, we use different kind of containers in Python. But what is the name of that certain containers? So, let's see what kind of name it has and what kind of a type and what type of a container it is. Find that, let's type print type open brackets, place A inside it, and after that let's find out what kind of container C is. So similarly print type open brackets and place C inside the bracket. Now let's print and see the output. Yes, we get the input as class int for A and class str for C. So now here comes a question. What is int and what is str? It's basically simple, like the values which are placed under a double underscore is called as string and the numbers are called as integers. These are some of the common data types in Python, and apart from these data types there are some more data types like float. Float is nothing but a number which also with a decimal point, like if we store just 5 it is an integer, if we store 5.5 it is called as float. Now let's print the value of b, like print b. Okay, we get the output as 5.5. Now let's check the container type of b. So print type b. So let's print it. So we get the output as class float. So these are called as data types in Python, like integer, string, float. Now we have some of the basic knowledge of what is data types and variables in Python. Now let's try out some basic operation and task with data types and variables. So to do that, let's create a new file. So let's name it like operations.py. Now click enter and save it. So now let's try to add two variables. Create a equal to 5 and b equal to 10. Now let's print it. Print a plus b. Okay. Now run the code. Python debugger. Okay. Okay. We get the output as 15. So the value stored inside the a 5 and the value stored inside the b 10 and print a plus b. So 5 plus 10 and we get the output as 15. We can also do the same task in a different way. Let's create another variable named c and we give the process like a plus b inside c and now let's print the c. So yeah, we get the same output as 15. Now what happens? Now let's break down the code like a is equal to 5 and b is equal to 10. Now c is equal to a plus b, which means c is equal to 5 plus 10. So c is equal to 15. So while printing c, we get the value as 15. So I hope you understand this concept properly. So try it yourself like create 4 variables like a, b, c, d and add 3 variables and store it in the 4th variable and print the output and check what kind of output you get. Pause the video and try it yourself. I hope you tried the program which I gave to you. So now let's see different types of operations which we can do by variables. We can perform different types of operations with variables like addition, subtraction, multiplication, division and many more. Now I have made a slight changes in the program like I have changed the value of 5 to 50 and changed the plus symbol into minus and to print the program I get the output as 40. So what happens here, the value stored in A is 50 and the value stored in B is 10. So 50 minus 10 is equal to 40. So we get the output as 40. So I hope you guys understand what is data types and variables in Python. Do some of the basic operations like addition, subtraction and multiplication with Python and improve your knowledge about data types and variables. And I hope you guys make use of this video. Let's see in another video. Thank you.